What's up, guys? That was my Worcester Academy senior night song, or Auld Lang Syne, a tribute to my mom and dad's Euro trip in Edinburgh, Budapest, Cologne, and Stockholm. So tonight is a very special general conference, fall retreat slash Worcester Academy reunion, big weekend in Christian and high school throwback terms. I know a lot of people say you don't get peaked in high school. I'm not a person that got peaked in high school, as you can see over here. But in addition, it also shows that a lot has changed since high school. This episode, as you see, my background is a Worcester Academy background. A lot has changed from my high school years. And one thing that I really learned ever since high school as an important computer science concept for work, interview, whatever, leak code, whatever, is OOP, Object-Oriented Programming, and its cousin, uh, OOD, Object-Oriented Design. So here we go, Coding Missions, Episode 7. As you can see here, this is Mahjong and Worcester Academy Reunion, Object-Oriented Programming. So the game of Mahjong was a Chinese game that originated from the Shang Dynasty. And see from the game of Mahjong, it's almost like Chinese dominoes mixed with like, I guess, poker, because you have different, types of designs and patterns. You have different types of colors and different types of flowers. So tonight's game is not necessarily how to play Mahjong with OOP, but rather design a Mahjong tile with OOP. Of course, in a future bonus episode or future coding missions, we can take it further and actually have a playable game. But for tonight, or you can also get 20 subs on my channel or 20 likes on my video, and we'll also be able to have a special episode end of the year to play some Christmas Mahjong. But that being said, for tonight is just simply the primer. So this is a special thanks to Worcester Academy 2024 Union, which is happening this Saturday. So 10 years ago in 2014 at Worcester Academy, I was making a senior year capstone project with Swift programming, iOS Swift. It was my first ever OOP project. I had like a main controller, model view controller class. It was for the Sage Dining app capstone project. It helped Worcester Academy Sage Dining services with sustainable source for dining hall food, which is obviously often challenging post-COVID because sustainable is not really a word you probably use with COVID. But in Worcester Academy high school times, it was very good. It's also a special thank you to Jason Epstein and Debbie Tech Office. So self to achieve the honorable. So what is OOP? It's object-oriented programming. It's objects used as a composition of methods and functions. And it's programming with various design patterns, such as builder, visitor, factory, singleton, etc. And one really good resource, which I'll put in the episode description, is the O'Reilly book for OOP design. I did extensive in my Northeastern programming design paradigms and foundation software engineering courses, and even some of the database courses. So definitely the O'Reilly book for that is very good. It's ebook, it's interactive, it's PDF that you can use. So simple example, feat the Celtics. And yes, the Celtics will be getting the ring end of the month. I'm excited to see Celtics versus Knicks and defend banner 18 for banner 19. So the Celtics, you got the sorry, you got the head coach with name and ID. You got the assistant coach, name and ID. You got a scouting staff member with name, the player they be scouting, and ID. You got the first player with name and ID, second player with name and ID. You got a bench coach with name and ID, and a trainer name and ID. So here's the example with the 2024 champion Celtics. You got Coach Joe Mazzola with name Joe, ID 001. You got Sam Cassell with name Sam 002. Brad Stevens, you got Brad scouting Kristaps Porzingis, another Celtics player with 003. You got Jason Tatum, JT with 00, JB with 007. Jeff Van Gundy, he's now ESPN analyst. He used to work with the Celtics. JVG010, of course, my boy Nick Sang, Asian American trainer of Jason Tatum. Nick was 011. So obviously, this is the tree design visitor pattern that we have for OOP. Pretty cool. You see, you can. This is why I love OOP is basically become like a general manager, like Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge type of guy when it comes to coding design. And not just only for sports. For example, if you have like, a girl, they could talk about, like maybe top tier what type of clothes they'd be wearing, and then like the types of clothes they'd be wearing afterward. For example, they put Lululemon here, they put like Chanel, then Louis Vuitton, and then Tory, and yeah, yes, you can tell I've been shopping with a lot of ladies in Christ lately. So I've been especially shopping with my parents, my mom, also with a lot of ladies in Christ in church. Yeah, comprar muchas cosas. So definitely shopping is also another great example for OOP. OP is everywhere. Ever since you were in the kindergarten, OP was there. You have shapes. For example, a shape, triangle, square, um, then you have rectangle, parallelogram, and you have isosceles and scalene. So OOP main concept, as back in the slide before, is about composition of methods and functions, or basically non-CSV for organizing all your stuff. Even at Optum UHG, we have something called Spark, which has like OOP's type of design for like my manager, then me, then another coworker. So it helps you understand hierarchies. So OOP is particularly good at understanding hierarchy structures. So Mahjong in action with OOP. So Mahjong is the perfect game to mock model OOP. I think to my boy Gustav from my ward. He's really good at games and dude's a good CS dude. So I think this is a great opportunity for some of my new friends to show CS in the Lord. So anyways, OP has domino style designs. You have two sides with number of dots and patterns. You have four cardinal directions, Dongfeng, north wind, Shifeng, south wind. Sorry, Lanfeng, south wind, uh, Beifeng, north wind, Dongfeng, east wind, and then Shifeng, west wind. Or in Spanish, viento norte, viento sur, viento este, viento oeste. Doesn't matter. Whatever language is four cardinal directions. You got some special tiles. You got Joker, Soldier, Dragon. Dragon's very important, by the way. Dragon's basically how you win the game and other things. So it's almost like a Dominoes of Catan. I did show Stars of Catan earlier, Algos in 10 episode, but that was less OOP, more file IO. This one's more OOP based. And remember, we're not coding the whole game, just abstractions that make the pieces shine. Basically, where the pieces compose of each piece. Just like Greatest Showman, OP is never enough. Never enough. Like OP is never enough for the complete coverage of code. And there's four main easy steps, just the main class, players, turns, and the Dragon Wind. Just like Avatar Last Airbender, four elements is enough to mock model OOP. Let's get going. Step one's the main class. I'll be using Java. So I made some Java pseudocode, public class Mahjong, some setters and getters. Get a tile of Mahjong and set tile Mahjong, and then main methods. So the get tile gets a type string, which is the type of Mahjong tile, and then matches. How many Mahjong tiles do you match to score? You know, back in like the old Windows, maybe the baby Mahjong, you match tiles and then you get a score. The OG Chinese Mahjong has that as a part of scoring, but the entire game of Mahjong is not just only that, it's much more complicated. And of course, set tile, you can set the tiles on the Mahjong. So when you start with Mahjong, you have 13 tiles on each quadrant, so 52 tiles total. Then you have 66 different places. You have, 14 extra tiles to set other tiles. So you basically have 66 total tiles for Mahjong. Step two, add the players. So once again, I build on the code from step one, and I do a public init. This will be called a constructor. So public class, and then with constructors with Java, you don't need class, just do public Mahjong, and then public init. So the constructor takes three main parameters: name of string, player ID int, and of course the score of the player. So far, so good. So far, it's pretty straightforward. Step three gets more bougie. So step three is add the turns as subroutine methods. So subroutine in computer science basically is a helper of a helper. So I already got the init as a helper, technically for the main class. Now, this is a helper for the init function itself. So I have a private abstract void turn. Reason why we make private, because of course you don't want people knowing what turn you're doing, or there's cheating the game, and that's not very godly. You also want abstract because you want to abstract away the details from the players. So it's like a real Mahjong game. You don't want like, oh, hey, here's your tile, or hey, here's your tile. Like you want to be able to avoid looking at people's tiles. So that's why we use private method in Java for that reason. And then that it returns void, of course. You don't want any return, nobody seeing your results. So you have player string and turn int. And finally, the dragon wind. So dragon wind and Mahjong are very important because if you have dragon wind, you basically can determine the direction of how the tiles will go. And more importantly, if you manage to get all your tiles to match, all 13 to match, you win the game. You're Mahjong champion. You get to chill, watch Houston beat by the Tigers, enjoy your high school reunion, or do whatever while you see the other three people duke it out. So sort of like the MLB wild card. You win the first seed of Mahjong, you basically get to chill out and have a bye. So public class Dragon Wind, do you have a separate class in the side class? You could do it in Java. In Python, you sort of can. You have to use like for Python, you use a underscore init thingy for Python. But Java, you can easily just add a class within class or subclass. And a public Dragon Wind, once again, is a constructor in the direction of string. So there we go. I have a full working version demo in the works. If I get over 20 likes on this video, I'll show a full working version of the game, complete with gameplay in Java. For now, I can only show the primer. And don't worry, the full working version is not that complicated. It's not like 15 millions of code. Most likely, it'll be just 4 different classes, just fleshed out, and people can take turns doing stuff. So as I showed, that pseudocode is very important for coding interviews because the pseudocode will basically tell the people, here's my code, but before I actually code anything, what they do with it. It's sort of like cooking. It's like the recipe for your cooking. Because every time I make a food for portioning with Jason episode, and even tonight, I made a nice little cream of celery and chicken soup for my dinner. And, it's very, very good. So it's just like cooking. You want to make sure that you have a recipe for your code. Otherwise, the interview is going to be like Master Chef, like Chef Michael commenting, uh, abstract artist gotta learn first how to draw. So very important because I see a lot of people in lead code just golf code. Like don't get me wrong, I love Steven Pokemon and lead code dudes, and even some Chinese dudes. I do admit this is a stereotype of art, lead coding. But in a real interview, you got to know what you're doing, or you're going to be viewed as a fool. You're going to be viewed as somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, and that's not good. You're not going to get the offer letter. So just like compares and GFs, we want to keep the code kissable. Keep it short and sweet. Don't make the code ridiculously long that you have a hard time explaining yourself. A rule of thumb is just from Worcester Academy, honestly. If you write the code longer than the Worcester Academy song for Odd Lang Syne, which is about 50 lines, your code already is too long to understand. So 50 is the magic number, 50. So keep the lines within 50 for the pseudocode, for any pseudocode or any real code for proper OOP. Unless you have something called exceptions, which is more advanced, like, error catching. The full working demo will not have error catching. I even made once AlphaGo Pi in Python. I only added error catching once I learned how to do it. So just like, in cooking, don't add in all the spices, the oregano, the arepas, the sazon right off the bat. Get your base food in. Get your base staple main food in. Get your base veggies and your base meat and your base, I don't know, broth in. So pseudocoding is a lot like cooking. You got to make sure the basics are down before you add in more stuff. We're gonna have a very big code soup mess. And nobody wants to deal with the mess, especially in a reunion weekend. Does I really thank Mr. Epstein and the W Tech office teaching me how to not only code, but code responsibly. Just like driving responsibly, just like cooking responsibly, even relationship responsibly. Just like do things the right way the Lord intended. So yeah, I'm that guy. I'll give you guys a pop quiz. Which of the following is not a legit design pattern? This is for my Professor Sesh and CS5010 PDP and Professor Wand Bell Tips CS 5 at 0 FSC at Northeastern. So basically my design pattern class quiz I'd taken during the COVID pandemic semester. So which of the following is not a legit design pattern? A, factory, B, facade, C, fun, or D, fractal? And while you guys think about that question, I'll talk about one more thing that's very, very important in OOP. The concept of aggregation versus composition. And in this particular case, I'll do a little annotating, nothing crazy, just a little annotating. The composition and aggregation. The composition is a type of design. So for example, you have a class, I don't know, let me think, ALDS. All right, you have ALDS, that's the class. Then you have method, go tigers, or actually tigers. And you have a type named team. So tigers is a ALDS team. So this is an example of a composition in computer science. Now, the aggregation is a has a design. So this is to, give a little respect for Shohei Ohtani. So I'm going to make this blue now. So for aggregation, it's going to be a little bit different. So aggregation is a little bit different. I'm going to change the color up a bit to be blue. Oh, whatever. Has a design. So the method is going to be method Shohei Ohtani. Class is wife. Oh, sorry, class is Japanese. And type is wife. So Shohei Ohtani has a Japanese wife. There you go. That is essentially composition and aggregation in a nutshell. And there are many mappings. There are, star dot dot dot. That'll be a later episode. That'll be actually the next episode where I talk about why I use UML modeling for my day job for usually Optum and why data scientists and database administrators and data people love, love, love the dot 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 star approach. The dot 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 star is a cardinal way to determine many to one to many relationships. And speaking of relationships, we're gonna do a little bit bipartite shipping in there. So a little bit bipartite shipping coming up for the next episode for coding missions. So yep, composition is a design and aggregation is a has a design. So method is tigers, class is ALDS, type is team. The tigers is a ALDS team. So aggregation is a has a design, method Shohei Ohtani, class Japanese, type wife. Shohei Ohtani has a Japanese wife. All right, that is great. That's all we need really. So I'm gonna save my thing, of course, because I want to reference it myself once I get to like another future interview for a job, or even if I want to quiz somebody for my role. Okay, there we go. We're gonna clear all my drawings now from annotations. So the answer to the pop quiz, of course, design patterns are going to be fun if they actually work. But fun is not a design pattern. There we have it. So thank you. Like and subscribe this episode and go Hilltoppers. Thank you very much, guys. And make sure that you have that you are a person that is a subscriber for my channel and not has an idea to subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.